Welcome to the tutorial. Today we will be going over the stack program installation LAMP, which stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. These individual programs were designed with heavy collaboration between the programmers to achieve a superior compatibility and yet retain an easy-to-use and highly customizable system. The major reason behind the popularity of the LAMP stack is that it is considered by many the platform of choice for development and deployment of high-performance web applications which require a solid, reliable foundation. The purpose of this tutorial is to create a SandBox virtual machine containing the LAMP stack for future troubleshooting needs. To get started, we will first need to create the virtual machine itself. For this tutorial, we will be using Oracle's VirtualBox system. The first step in creating the virtual machine is to click on the new icon located in the top left corner of the screen. In this window, we will be giving our virtual machine a name, setting the type of operating system for the virtual machine, and the version of that operating system. The version of Linux I will be using is Ubuntu 12.04 64-bit version. I will first select Linux from the top drop-down menu, and then under versions, I will select Ubuntu 64. Now I have to give the virtual machine a name. I want a name that I can easily recognize the purpose of the machine. For example, if I am beta testing software for OS version compatibility, I need to make sure each virtual machine OS version is easily identifiable. For this machine, I will identify the operating system, the version, and major use of the machine. So I'll click on name and put Ubuntu underscore version 12 underscore, and I'm going to put LAMP. This should be descriptive enough for my needs. Okay, now we're going to hit next. Okay, now we need to set the amount of memory that we are going to dedicate to this virtual machine. When this machine is running, it will normally take the full amount of RAM that we set in this window. For example, if we have a 14 gigabytes of RAM on our system and we set the field to 6 gigabytes of RAM, then when we run this virtual machine, we will be reducing our physical system RAM to 8 gigabytes. And the virtual machine will start with just shy of 6 gigabytes of RAM for its use. The green bar in this window shows the amount of RAM that you can give this virtual machine, but as a piece of advice, I would half that green bar and select a lower amount of RAM. The LAMP install usually will never require more than 4 gigabytes of RAM even in a production unit. Right now, I'm going to give my system 4 gigabytes of RAM. 1 gigabyte equals 1000 megabytes, or more accurately in terms of memory, 1 gigabyte equals 1024 megabytes. So I'll give my system 4096 megabytes. Now we click next. The next step is to create a hard drive. In this menu, you will have three options. First, not to add a hard drive, which I won't cover in this tutorial. Next is create a virtual hard drive, which is what we will be using in this tutorial. And the third option is to use an existing virtual hard drive. So if you've created virtual machines before, you can actually load those previously, the hard drives that you built before right into this system. So I'm going to select create a virtual hard drive, click create. On this screen, you are asked which type of virtualization file you want to build. The default Oracle file is VDI. Other systems such as VMware default to VMDK, which if I was building the system to go into a VMware environment, I would use VMDK just to make things a little easier down the road. This virtual machine will be staying within Oracle, so I will choose VDI and click next. Next, you are asked how you want your virtual hard drive to behave. This is a very important question. Choosing dynamically allocated means that your virtual machine will use the minimum amount necessary to function and will expand as needed. The expansion maximum is determined in the next screen. Fixed size tells your system to dedicate a specific amount of space for your physical hard drive space, whether the virtual machine is going to use it or not. With the exception of a few types of production virtual machines, we'll use dynamic allocation 99% of the time. So let's click dynamically allocated and hit next. In this screen, you will set the name of the virtual hard drive and the maximum amount of space to allocate. I will keep the pre-populated hard drive name, and I will allow my system to expand up to 80 gigabytes. The selection methods are the same as the RAM from the previous screens. Once we have set the hard drive maximum expansion size, we're going to go ahead and go create. We have successfully created a basic virtual environment to host our Linux operating system. However, we need to perform a few more steps for this particular tutorial. From this point, we will ensure our new virtual machine is highlighted in blue. Then we will click on the settings icons at the top left. These are the virtual machine's virtual I/O devices. You can think of it as the physical hardware that most computers contain, such as the network interface card. This is also the menu where you can make adjustments to previously selected items, such as changing the amount of RAM or the hard drive arrangements and settings. What we need to do is adjust the network interface card. We'll do that by clicking on the Network tab. Here you will be asked how this network card will function. These different functions are useful for many things, such as creating whole networks of virtual machines that talk to each other within a virtual environment, yet are encapsulated as to not interfere with physical network resources. I will discuss these options in future tutorials. For now, I'm going to click on where it says NAT, and I will select Bridged Adapter. This will allow the virtual machine to obtain an IP address from my physical network, essentially telling my router that this is a real and independent machine. Real quickly, I'm going to go to the Systems tab here, select Processor. Since I have multiple cores on my system, I want to give this system just another core here just to speed things up a little bit. Now I'm going to select OK. Okay, that's it. We now have a virtual environment ready to accept our Linux operating system.